Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. I am your.
I, I, and
You had
it
12
didn't
minutes to sneeze, and you wait until we're midway through the intro.
Wait, I hit the button. I didn't.
God damn it. I am your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair. That's staying in. I am joined by the founder of the Neca Illuminati, the YouTube wife, Mr. Sneeze a Lot, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jarmar _ Games. That's not all. We are also joined by the man Modern Toy Fair has full custody over. The man Optimus Prime popped and he still can't stop. Fuck, I already forgot your name from last week. The
Twilight Knight.
Twilight Knight.
Twilight Knight.
I'm doing this without the show sheet anymore, so I'm not
Okay.
ready.
That's okay. You did good.
Nate, how are you guys doing this week?
We are
Well,
good.
I'm good. Allergies is out there in the
Yeah,
the
some
world now.
pollen
It's
counts high.
Getting a little warmer in the area, but I'm doing pretty
Today
good.
was incredible
Yeah, it was
Oh.
a great day.
weather-wise. Today was
Yeah.
incredible.
How was it
Everything
there? It
else
was like
sucked.
55 here.
Oh no, it was in the 70s.
Damn.
Yeah, 70s and sunny. It was wonderful. I
It'll be
spent as
snowing
much
next
time
week,
as I
though,
could.
yeah.
Otherwise, spending like a chunk of time in a basement too. So while I was working.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you meant like right now or.
No, well, no. Right now I'm in the basement, but I also spent some time in a basement while I was working today. So, but as soon as I could get outside, I spent it outside. So, long way of saying I opened up the deck, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Back going.
Also, Nate's
Yeah.
the only one of us who remembered it was St. Patty's Day when we recorded this.
No,
Listen, don't pull a me and be like, I've got green on my shirt, so it counts. He's literally wearing a green
Nope.
shirt.
Frog's
green shirt.
Yeah, frog's green.
Anyway.
Let me tell you. For anybody out there, because our audience is hopefully a varied audience. If you want to pick up dudes in their at this point, probably early 30s, late 30s, invest in some high quality Dragon Ball gear. I'm just saying. I get a lot of compliments.
Okay, that's what I was very confused. I was just like, so you're saying that you'll fuck for Dragon Ball shirts? I'm like,
no.
because that's how that came off at first. You're like, if you want to pick me up sometime at a bar,
Fair enough.
make sure to invest in some high quality Dragon Ball gear.
I'm just saying, if you want to pick up dudes, because they always come up to me and talk to me, and
so you're saying you're
compliment my
picking them
shirt.
up because you have the shirt, not the other way around.
Right.
Okay.
right.
Like
Right.
you don't even
Okay, it
have
sounded
to-
more of like a gift
yeah.
for services kind of thing.
Oh,
when you started, so that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
You're like, it's prostitution if there's money, but if you gift me a Goku shirt, it's completely fair game.
Yeah, I'll keep it in mind. I mean, I'm not currently interested, but
$20
No,
is $20, man.
yeah, I mean, this is a
Goku
nice
tee
shirt.
is a Goku
So, this
So
is
like,
a $50 to
let's say
$60
$45 shirt.
Yeah, yeah. So this is high quality stuff.
Oh man, well we're 3 minutes in and we're already off the rails, but I'm gonna hand off to Nate because he has tonight's topic.
Tonight's topic, it is on all our minds. I'm not going to bury the lead. We're talking about exclusives. This has been, I think, really been an issue
For a long time?
I want to say within the last 8 years, it's become a bigger issue, and then definitely pandemic time has become insane.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to look at, I kind of wanted to look at a lot of things about exclusives, kind of discuss exclusives in general, when they're good, when they're bad, because it's easy to go bad. I also want to look at some positives when it's good. Who's got the best versions of exclusives? Where is the best place to get exclusives? Things like that. And I also have some feedback and some guest comments and things. But I kind of wanted to kick it off to you guys after I explain how I came to this situation. So as you guys have noticed on Wednesday night weekly purchases, which you can watch at, give me the web address, Michael.
Twitch.tv/Modern Toy Fair.
All right. Every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, just not this past week. But I've been picking up some vintage collection Star Wars, and it's really been interesting to me, the idea about completing the original 96, meaning the original 96 Star Wars figures that were ever released. People want those on the vintage collection cards. It's been a campaign that they've run in fan circles called Complete the 96. and 5 of them got announced yesterday. 5 of them out of the blue were announced yesterday. A Stormtrooper with a holster on a Star Wars card, 2 Bespin guards, an R2-D2, and a Death Star gunner. But they are all Walmart exclusives.
Oh.
So I've been looking at a lot of the comments, and I think it's interesting because, some people will do the knee-jerk reaction, the, oh my God, how stupid is everyone at Hasbro. These are 5 amazing figures, and they should be in the main line. And then 3 comments down, it's, oh, these are an easy pass for me. Who wants these? So, I started to think about, why are exclusives? Why are they not in the main line? And then kind of go from there and get your guys' opinion on it. So, however you guys want to kick off the discussion.
I mean, I just want to start. You said that you don't want to keep it all negative, but hey, negativity brings in the numbers.
Well,
all the episodes, the what the fuck is McFarlane doing? The McFarlane gun ban. All the episodes we bitch about things do the best. So
all right, let's bitch. Let's just fucking bitch.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'd say being like the newest collector or the youngest collector. How does that sound? Is that youngest?
Oh, well, I'm the youngest here, so I don't think that'd make you the youngest.
As far
collector.
as my collecting age, like, I mean, I guess I've been having like turtle stuff for a long time, but like actually buying new shit,
like actively hunting.
Yeah, actively youngest hunter.
There you go. Well, that works.
Okay.
Least experience.
Right.
We'll figure that out. We'll workshop that.
Yeah, we'll workshop
that.
that and we'll work it into your growing title.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But yeah, I mean, I guess in every situation exclusive have existed, it's always been a negative taste for me. So I mean, I don't know if I've really truthfully had a positive experience with exclusives. May it be obviously like con exclusives for obvious reasons. We live on the nice East Coast, Midwest, or
East
whatever
Coast.
it is. So like when it's something for San Diego Comic Con and it's exclusive, I mean that's an E. Yeah,
West Coast over here.
Isn't it?
Can we not gain more on this? But no, it just makes it trivial or difficult, or I have to spend an exorbitant amount of money for some things, or I just have to straight up miss out, which is fine because I'm not entitled to have everything. But I'm curious to see.
Pretend you're entitled.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know like what would be a positive exclusive experience. Like, do you mean from the standpoint of cool? There is no other way that I would have gotten this figure if it wasn't an exclusive, because
that's probably the most common. That's really the kind of the reason that exclusives exist. So there's kind of twofold. You have retailers who request exclusives because that's where the initial thing comes from. So retailers will request them. They may not necessarily be specific, but they want an exclusive item in this category.
They want something. They want something that's also going to be popular and sell. They don't want.
Yeah.
They don't want you to give them Commander Lando.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. That's saved for the main line. And then they're basically they offer up a cost, and so then the company has to work within those confines to deliver that product then to the retailer. So that's why generally we will see repaints and such. But it also means because that purchase from that retailer, that allows the product to get made that may not have gotten made otherwise. So if it's an exclusive, it may not have come out in the main line of anything. Now, the NECA situation with like Turtles, that's a little different because that's a licensing restriction. So, that was a
licensing restriction.
Right. I don't know what the details are, at least as far as, the animated line is mostly a Target exclusive. The movie line is mostly a Walmart exclusive, that sort of thing. So that's a more of a licensor agreement, or licensor agreement.
Licensee is the person getting it. Licensor is the person giving it.
That would be NECA would be the licensee.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So that would be like, to me, like that's really the only positive out of the exclusive, but that is a big part. That is a big positive.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't you think nowadays, and green-eared or whatever the expression is of being, a young guy, but like I like being young.
Does it happen often?
Isn't that like
hold on to it?
like with like Hasbro, HasLabs, and things like that, or like made to order things that NECA has been doing, on the websites. Like, should that be something that would start to, pull back exclusivity, or do you?
Honestly, I mean
Well,
that's just another form of exclusivity though, because you're still having to go, like if it's HasLabs, you have to go directly through Hasbro. You can't get it anywhere else. It's not a
Okay,
general
well,
release. So that might be the most positive form of it
yeah,
is
I
in
was gonna say,
HasLab, because at that point it's something that 100% would not get made because it wouldn't sell at retail unless the fans fund it.
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
there we go.
yeah. No, I would agree. We took out the extra party involved,
Mm-hmm.
so the retailer didn't request it. The manufacturer was basically going to do their own exclusive.
Yeah,
and Pulse has done that too, but Pulse Pulse is a different entity of Hasbro. It's not Hasbro.
oh yeah, because if you follow Hasbro on social media, it's nothing but kid shit, and then Pulse is like collector, collector, collector. Like it's a night and day difference.
Yeah, it's a different. They're not one and the same.
Yeah, it's like a sub company that they.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are essentially a retailer in a sense. In that way, and the same with Super 7 because they have their web store, but they also branch out and allow other partners involved. So like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. Yeah. I believe Dorkside does Super 7 as well.
I think so. Yeah,
I could be wrong. I don't know.
At least do TMNT because when I was ordering the Valorverse stuff off there, I saw them advertising on their front page.
Yeah. So yeah, that would probably be the other form of a positive aspect, but it's also very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with Jarmar though that like coming up with positives is hard because 80 to 90% of the experiences with exclusives have not been good. The only like non Hasbro fan crowdfund stuff that I've had that was good is the first set of movie Turtles when they got re-released after Comic-Con that were pre-orderable at GameStop, which I know some people didn't have as good of a experience. But I pre-ordered a set, Jarmar pre-ordered a set, they showed up, we got them, that was it.
Yep.
However, it's not consistent. Like retail, that's the problem. Retailers aren't consistent across the board all the time. GameStop, some of their exclusives, you walk in, you pre-order it, it's done, you get it when it comes out, good game.
Right.
Others, it never shows up, or they sell it from underneath you, or it sells out in minutes, or it's not available in store, it's only available online. Like there's no consistency to it, and the question then becomes, is that something that should be required if you're going to make these deals with these retailers? Then you should be like, hey, this is what we want done to make sure that we don't have to deal with the backlash when you fuck it up. Like, oh, it has to be in store only, or oh, it has to be this or that.
Do you think even a company like Hasbro even has I don't want to say power, but that's essentially what I mean.
Oh,
does Hasbro have the power to come
100%.
back at Walmart?
Oh yeah, if there's any company that does, Hasbro has their own retailer. Okay. They have Pulse.
Yeah.
They could walk away from Target and Walmart and just do everything strictly from Pulse. And
I don't think that they could. I don't
think they would, but they could, because realistically, their main lines, Marvel Legends and Star Wars, aren't made for kids, so they don't need the walkthrough traffic.
No, but I would disagree because I still think a bulk of people are hesitant to buy online and collectors because they want paint apps or packaging or whatever.
Which, so I mean, trust me, I'm in that camp, so I feel it.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
But
so I don't want to advocate towards it, but that's my feeling because I don't think Hasbro would want to lose accounts like that. That's why lines like GI Joe, we were told for years, couldn't go on because there was no retailer support. So I don't think that they're at a place where they would be comfortable doing direct to consumer. They've tried it before and it hasn't worked. So I think overall that wouldn't work. So maybe Hasbro was a bad example, but I can't imagine that, say, like McFarlane can go up to Walmart and say, hey, listen, you guys screwed up our pre-order. I'm curious as to what went down between them and Target, for like the Batman Year 2 debacle. For anybody who doesn't know, they had the Batman Year 2 figure that was a McFarlane designed figure. It looked awesome. It was available at Target. It was quick sellouts. But then when people started getting them, they were falling apart in the packaging.
And that's if yours didn't get canceled and re-put up.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. There's that too. A lot of them got canceled and then resolicited, which is crazy in itself. So you know, what is the fallout there? Does McFarlane say no the next time Target wants an exclusive? I don't think so, because they want
I don't
whatever it
know.
is that Target's
Todd
going to
is
give them.
really pushing the McFarlane store online.
That's true.
Like he
But
may
I
be
mean,
trying to
you
find
say
a
that,
solution to
but
that because I mean it's
you
not like
know,
that was in store anyway, so it eliminates the original
Right.
argument.
you say that Todd's pushing that, but as like, the young hunter himself, I didn't even know you could buy McFarlane figures online.
Well,
Didn't
that's
know they had an
because you
online
don't
store.
you don't really go on social media except for Twitter.
Well, I mean, do you think I'm the only single person in the
No, but
world
I'm
that's
just
like
saying
that?
that's the problem. You don't get advertised to because you're not on those platforms as often.
That's fair. That's fair.
Literally, I'm scrolling through Instagram and at least, God, 5, 10 times a day, I get an ad or see a post from him about pre-order this wave of figures and get a discount or whatever, or you get a special figure for free or something by ordering it through the McFarlane store versus like
Fair.
going online. Like they did. I'm pretty sure that's the only way you can get the unmasked Batman of Zur and R is you have to pre-order directly from him that wave, but you have to get the entire wave to get that one.
I don't like that
Huh.
at all. I don't like that at
Oh,
all.
most people
I guess
don't,
since it's
but
a figure,
it's an
build a figure,
it's an
but
unmasked figure of
yeah,
another figure. So if you're that hell
yeah,
bent on
that's
getting a
fair.
Bruce Wayne head, like
Yeah,
you're probably
fair.
gonna get the entire wave anyway.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we haven't really hit that point yet. Like, I kind of see what you're saying, Nate, just because there is still people that are uninformed buyers who still spend a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
on, collectible items. So like pulling it out probably isn't like the best solution. Um, I kind of like the idea of continuing, like expanding on what like NECA is doing, as far as maybe not necessarily demanding that you have to support our exclusives, but also say there's going to be a window of exclusivity, as
Yes.
opposed to like just that be the end all be all.
Or vice versa, where they have it where it's exclusive to Target if you want to buy it in person,
Yeah,
but if you don't want to have to go through the headache and trauma of doing that and the disappointments, you can pre-order direct from them.
right.
So
Because I think that's like a great compromise. Because if I'm Mr. NECA and I'm like, hey, this is what we're offering, and if you feel that this is going to detract away from business from Target, then maybe we should do something as far as educating and making sure that things are out when they're supposed to be, because
mm-hmm.
that would encourage people to go buy it in store as opposed to ordering it online, and
Yeah.
then you kind of get like a win-win situation.
But at that point,
Yeah.
they also because the problem is like everyone calls it the neck rep, the neck rep, the neck rep. It's not a neck rep.
Yeah,
The I can't remember the exact name of the company, but I think it's like Valor Entertainment or something. They're in charge of that entire section with all the books and movies and stuff and vinyl records. They like and for the most part, if you're not in a like large city area where there's like 7 targets around you in a driving distance, they aren't going to come as often because 9 times out of 10 they're part-time and they're usually making a little bit more than whatever minimum wage is in your state. Those reps are just like the Sony and Microsoft reps that would go to stores and like program the demo units and stuff with the new trailers. Like they aren't someone who this is like if it is their full time job then great, but they're not making that full time money as if like a full time Target employee would be putting it out.
yeah, that's fair.
That's another reason
Yeah.
why a lot of the NECA stuff just sits in the back is because there's no one to put it out. Like because I'm 2.5 hours away from the next Target, my store's rep maybe comes once a month, and that's a big maybe. And they can't keep one because they want them to drive 2.5 hours
Yeah,
away for minimum wage.
I
Yeah.
just can't believe you moved somewhere where you don't have multiple targets near you. I
Right?
don't know
Yeah,
how
that does
I
seem like
couldn't
a
even
mistake.
exist.
Well, I mean, in my defense, when I lived by you guys, we only had 2 targets in that area, and they both sucked anyway. So I figured at least this is only half the disappointment.
Yeah. But I feel like I
I
could
can.
reach like 7, 6
Yeah, I
targets.
feel like I can get 4 or 5 within the hour.
Yeah.
Oh, not within the hour. I mean, it's
Fairlawn.
20 minutes from Maslin to Belton.
Well, from like each one, not all.
Oh, you're
what
saying
do you
an
mean, get
hour
all of
drive
them?
each way. I thought you meant like you were gonna hit 7 targets in an hour. Because I'm like,
I
unless
could
you've got a
come damn
teleporter,
close.
Yeah, you could
that's
probably get pretty close.
no.
We don't. We can.
It takes
I'll
from
do
from
the- I'll-
Belton to Arlington. It's fucking 30 minutes.
No, it's
Dude,
not.
you
It's
are
like
Yes,
a
it
grandma
is.
driver.
It's like 5.
No, it's
You're-
not.
I've done it.
At least
I've done
like
it.
15.
I had to
At
drive
least
that all the
10.
time for work at one point.
See
I
what
could go from
exclusivities
Belton
do to
to
us.
to Arlington in 5 minutes.
If you could, I feel bad for whoever has to drive with you then, because you are driving well
I'm
of the
gonna
speed limit.
I'm gonna time it.
You better get
next
yourself a
week.
GoPro.
I'm out of town.
Put your phone up there with a little timer, and let's see how long it takes you
Yeah.
to get from the Target Belton or the Belton and Target, whatever, to fucking Arlington.
All right. So let's backtrack a little bit.
Yes, please.
So
Dude, now that I've doxed you both, you're welcome.
yeah, I'm still right, but I know it's under 10 minutes.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So
You guys are both gonna not be able to afford fucking collectibles because you're speeding tickets.
yeah, that's fine. So yeah, definitely the I guess the whole atmosphere around exclusives has changed. It used to be something where like, they would hit the stores and you'd start to hear about it hitting and you'd run out and you'd get them or maybe find them at one store, but maybe not the next and things like that. And anymore, and it's definitely been since exclusives barely make it to the shelf.
Yeah.
What?
You can't say the C word.
You can't?
No, the algorithm doesn't like it because it's like misinformation.
Oh, can I say pandemic?
Yeah, you can say pandemic. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My bad.
I need to write down the timestamps
Okay.
so I don't have to fucking listen to the entire
Yeah.
episode again.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah, you don't want to listen to you talk about driving to Arlington.
Yeah, I know.
That's riveting entertainment.
It is, man.
So are we just gonna cut and then?
No, we're still recording. I wrote down the
okay, go
timestamp so I
ahead.
can go in,
Oh.
and I'm just gonna silence you saying that word. Is all.
Oh, I'm like,
What
Like,
word? I can't
playing.
believe you said
All right.
ponies.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up the whole My Little Pony thing. Anyway,
Again.
I don't even remember what. Oh, so then
Things change.
pre-Voldemort, that things seem to be easier. And then all of a sudden, because I remember specifically sitting at my computer because I was working from home, and when the first initial wave of GI Joe Classified exclusives went up to Target, I had some issues, but I'd always been really good at grabbing things online,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the first time where it was gone. Like I couldn't even. I got one in my cart, backed up to go into the other one, and they were all gone. Everything was gone, and I was like, "What is happening?" And I've never seen it. Like I've always been able to get online exclusives, and just now, like with the use of, I guess, apparently, people who use bots, especially to use, from what I understand, sneaker shoppers that would go in and snipe were now using the bots because there was money to be made in buying up exclusives, which is not untrue. The problem is that what we think of as a traditional scalper or whatever, which is a horrible term, really, when we think about it. But that's
Very true.
that's the only term that's out there, and yet you're like, really?
It's the only one that's like a negative because people also are like flippers, but the only people who use that were Funko Pop collectors. And I'm just like, flipper doesn't really sound bad. That just sounds like you can flip a house and you're not a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Although you
because
kind
usually
of are.
if you flip a house, you usually like
You invested money in
improve it.
Yeah.
You improve it in some
That's
way.
fair. You put it in that way.
Yeah, you're not just buying a house for like $100K and then just throwing it back up immediately for 200 and be like, ha ha ha, fuck you.
Yeah, just because I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it before you did. So that part of it was weird, and it was tough for me to deal with. And at first, I was like, of course, you do the thing that everybody does when you like lose out on an exclusive you want online. You're like, well, I'm done with the whole line.
Heard that quite a few times.
If I've learned anything in the years I've been on this earth, that shit comes back around again. Like anytime you miss out on something, rarely, unless you really wait on it, it usually comes back around and gets a second opportunity. Not always for the price that you want to pay, but at least it's not always something really, so horrible. if you're patient enough. But that's with that. Did you guys have a moment like that where you realized this was a lot more difficult than it was?
Oh God, every NECA turtle release for the past like 5 years.
I have one specific
up until this last year, I guess.
Yeah, so it was it Metalhead or was it? It was Metalhead, because there was like rumblings that it's gonna hit Target. I think at like 1 o'clock or no, it was later in the afternoon. And the reason why I remember is because my wife had gotten off of work, and could it have been Metalhead? Because I'm trying to think.
Well, the Metalhead story I remember is you went to your Target to try to get that in the Casey Jones 2-pack. They didn't have Metalhead. You were only able to get 1 2-pack, and then later in the afternoon, I got off work. I went and found the 2-pack, and I found 2 Metalheads.
It was a Metalhead then.
Was it are you thinking of an online situation or in store?
I'm trying to remember what we were ordering online. You know what? We
Metalhead
hit online
first? It hit online first, but it was gone within seconds.
Okay, that was what it was. Is that I thought, oh, I'm gullible me. I'm just gonna order it online. My wife was like, yeah, I'll come over. We'll get lunch, and we went to the Wendy's parking lot because we were just gonna grab Wendy's down the street. And we're eating our food, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, all right, it's about to go live. You get ready. And we're just refreshing our phone. She's like, I got it. Okay, cool. Check out. It's not working. All right, well, I keep refreshing mine. I get it in my cart. It's not working. And it was just this constant, like, we have it, we don't have it. Mm-hmm. We have it, we don't have it. And it was at least about 15 to 20 minutes. Don't tell my job, but I was laid back for my lunch because they were still sitting there. And it just ended up being like, it went from, I have it in my cart, I can't purchase it, to, sorry, this item is no longer available.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the actual fuck just happened? And that one
that's super frustrating. That one sucks because you did everything right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have it,
just right. Didn't get it.
Yeah. And that's part of it where I was like, I think at this point I thought, well, at least I'll just be able to easily get it from the store, and we'll just wait for it. And then, egg on my face on that, because that was
each store got 2.
a nightmare as well, until it wasn't, and then it was fine. But that's probably the one that sticks out the most, and that's the least embarrassing.
Oh man,
that's when I first realized we're in the shit now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I don't know how many years ago that was, because
that was
time.
That was at least, that had to have been within the last 3 years, because it was when I was living here at that point, and I had my 3 years this month.
Because
it was probably
the giveaway for it.
Yeah, it's probably 2018. Okay. I think it was before everything kind of really went to shit.
That would make sense then, because she was, was she even pregnant? I had to. But yeah, anyways, that was when it was like, okay, yeah, this is gonna really suck. Because up until then, I mean, I guess there was... Actually,
no, that was 2020, because 2019 was when the Rocksteady and Bebop set came out, because I got that for us, and that was in the fall.
Yeah.
So that would have been...
at home in your suitcase.
Yeah, so that had to have been probably at least...
the funny thing about Rocksteady and Bebop is me and my friend Craig, that I've talked about on the show, we saw it.
No,
yeah. What's his address and his credit card number?
Yeah. We saw a posting that they were showing up online or in store, and they were showing up in like Cincinnati. And our buddy Chuck, who I've also talked about on the show, just happened to be in Cincinnati that day. And we're like, hey, check for us. And he found 2. And I that was the first day anyone had ever seen them. I already had them in the bag. So I never knew how bad those were to get.
Yeah. So honestly, that they weren't either, because I went...
That's a humble brag right there. So...
I mean, weird flex. I went on my lunch break. At the time, I was still working at FedEx, and my lunch break, because I closed, was usually around like dinner time, and I just like, okay, these are out, I'm gonna check real quick, and that's when I got me and Jarmar's set. So, and there was enough that I could have gotten one for Wes. He just didn't want it at the time. So like that was the before times, before the...
Yeah, I think that was...
Because the turtles were rough just because it was the turtles.
Yeah, but
Right.
it was also because it was the
But it
multiple
never felt like
packs.
they were that bad. Like I could
Yeah.
still go get them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember walking in and they were just right there, and I just loaded my card up and walked right out. And I didn't even know that they were gonna be there. It was just of like, oh, we're at Target. Oh shit.
That was when the panic was more about how many they were getting rather than anything else, because everyone was like, these are super popular because it's turtles, it's the Toon Turtles, and stores are getting 2 to 4 of each. So it was more the panic of they're not getting a lot, I have to get there, versus it being like actually hard to get kind of thing.
But if we're looking back, I have to think, man, that was exciting times, because I remember walking in and just going back to the toy section, with my leisure, approach. I was like, oh my God, they're here. I was like, oh, this is so exciting. It was exciting to find them.
Let me ask you that then. Is that what you would prefer now, to have to run around
God.
and look for them? Or to be able to order them online?
It wasn't, if it was the same as that was, where I wasn't too panicked, and maybe that's also just me being naive, but it was a kind of a thrill of like, yes, they're here, versus me like, oh my God, please, I hope they're here. But walking back to the back and praying that they're here.
Was that thrill because it was exclusive, or was that thrill just because you were able to get them?
That's what it is. It was more of like, oh sweet, I can get these, I'm happy. It was a happy thought. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, thank God that this is exclusive to Target, which is not. And I have to say, like, thank you, Neca, because we're only talking about Neca at this moment. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm happy with the Target exclusive, because I'd much rather go to Target.
Oh, Walmart, you'd never fucking find them.
I'm sorry, Walmart, but it's just.
I'm not sorry. Fuck you, Walmart, and your shitty shipping that's ruining everyone's Star Wars figures.
But yeah, that was an excitement. That was an exciting moment, and I miss those moments of like, it was before it was constant dread and panic.
Yeah, it's like you still had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is it flippers or what's the other term? The not projectors, but some speculators.
Oh, speculators.
Oh, okay.
People were buying it anticipating that it's gonna be worth something versus actually just buying it to sell it instantly. Probably a bit of both. So I think that's the big problem with the pandemic is it created 2 new side markets to the initial collecting market, because then you had all these people who, like, they had all this excess money, so now they're like, okay, I'm gonna go and start buying this stuff to sell it online because it's popular and it's worth money, and then maybe I could do this as my job instead of having to go back to my shitty job. And then there was the people who were like, oh, collecting is blowing up, this could be a long-term investment. 10 years from now I could sell this for hundreds of dollars. And the problem is the collecting market already had those built into it, but now you had so many that it was almost 2 subcategories on top of that. And the problem is demand for all of these collectibles skyrocketed, and supply just kind of went up like barely. They aren't meeting demand by any even like close to the means. Like, look at the holothon stuff. I'm assuming that's partially what triggered this topic. You've got Targets that are getting, well, at least pretty almost all the ones I've seen, most of the stuff on that that's popular, like gargoyles and turtles, they're getting 2 of each. There's no way, unless you live somewhere that has 30 Targets in a fucking county, that's enough for every collector to be able to get one that's in that area.
I can get to 30 Targets in about 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
No, 30 would probably take 25.
Fuck you both and your fake ass money.
Okay.
25.
Right.
And we're just being realistic. No, I agree. I mean, this is not where I want to take the conversation, but I'm actually shocked though that the holothon, because I was gonna use that as an example of like it kind of went right, like. It didn't though, because it did for like if you're into the niche stuff, like I wanted the black and white Wolfman. That's not a popular item, so it wasn't hard for you to get. Almost everyone I've seen who is a fan of the Gargoyles line, Demona, they got 2 of each and they were gone instantly. Same thing with the turtle stuff. The new 4-pack, which I think is kind of a waste of money because it's $150 and you get less than you did with the disguise 4-pack.
That's for the people who just want who are casual, and just want the 4 turtles again.
Yeah.
But not to interrupt you, but I'm going to. Most of those are only timed exclusives, though, right?
There's been literally 0 communication. The gargoyle stuff is supposed to be everywhere,
Right.
But then Demona was put into this. Same thing with Universal Monsters. Those are supposed to be everywhere.
Yeah.
The turtle stuff, obviously, at least as of right now, is exclusive. Granted, most of the end cap is shit that people have already ordered on NECA's website. So unless you never got yours somehow, or you want more than one,
second chance.
Yeah, because
or you just didn't order it.
Yeah,
because like I didn't order any of that recent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. But like, you know, because I picked up Griff and the Evil Dead Ash, and you know those are not going to be exclusive. Griff, I believe. Well, I don't know if he was solicited, I guess, but none of those are going to be exclusives in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Turtle set will be. The Fugitoid, I'm hearing conflicting things. So it's the Fugitoid isn't coming until later this month, when the Haulathon is supposed to happen.
No, people are already finding that and the Rocksteady 2 back. I've seen at least 4 people on Instagram post, look what I found today. So it's hitting now.
Yeah, and then like there's the thing with some of them, they're signed signature editions, which are like $100.
That's if you pre-order it online when they do the thing tomorrow, I thought.
Well, for the Fugitoid maybe, but there's the Gizmo ones are in store.
Really?
They're $100
for a fucking Howie Mandel autograph.
I don't even. Is that who signed it?
I think that's what Wes told us was Howie Mandel.
That makes sense. I was trying to figure out who it was.
Yeah, he was like, "That's the most worthless autograph." Like that dude signs like 500 things a day, and I'm like, "Well."
Yeah, but like that's just on a regular shelf, and I don't know that necessarily the stores know that the signatures are $100, and they're going to get ripped off. Is more, I think, what's going to happen than anything. Like no one's going to spend $100 on that. Like if I came across the Fugitoid and it was only the signature edition, I would be livid.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
too,
like don't get me wrong. My problem with it is the fact that it's not signed on the box. It's signed on a card inside the box, which is fucking pointless. Right. Why would I want a fucking business card with his signature on it? Like if I want signed, I want the fucking window of the box signed. So they could have done like Funko does, where they have the exclusives come in the fancy cases to protect them. Do that, have them signed. How
expensive would that have been? I mean, that
would have been what? Okay, you have to pay $110 then. Like those cases aren't expensive.
Look, I don't think it costs them $100 to get Howie Mandel to sign a card.
Well, I don't give a shit about that. I'm talking about the Fugitoid, which my thing about Fugitoid pisses me off. That line, the comic book line, is supposed to be specialty shops, not retailers. Yes. So the fact that he's in Target is real fucking sus to me.
Yeah,
but that could
That's the second time you've used that tonight, and I'm gonna request that you don't do that anymore.
I said sus twice?
Yeah.
When did I say it the first time?
Well, now it's been 4 times. I forget now.
Wait, you just doubled it. I only said it once.
No.
So how crazy is it outside of the NECA? Because the nice thing is like Super 7, I really haven't run into any.
Well, Super 7
doesn't. They only do exclusives through like Big Bad
that.
Toy Store and stuff, and even then, that's pretty readily available because that's made to order still.
So, outside of NECA, I'm pretty good, sitting pretty with not dealing with exclusives.
I mean, if you're looking at retail stuff, you get fucked. Like NECA makes all the other like companies look like saints, because you've got Star Wars. Oh no, Star Wars. They're like, who's our number one fucking fan? Walmart, because they're great at distribution and great at fucking shipping pre-orders. And
well, they're great at fucking paying them, is what it is.
Yeah. And then fucking GI Joe is back at Target, but they don't order enough for everybody, so it doesn't matter because they still don't break the line.
I still have some tinfoil hat conspiracy ideas about the whole Target GI Joe relationship. I don't think the line would have continued if it wasn't for Target, and I think Target's financial support in that line, as much as we bitch, and a lot of it is deserved, because I don't think they want to be transparent about the situation, but I think if they were a bit more transparent, I think people would maybe be a little bit more understanding. But I don't know. I don't have facts there. I only have speculation. But
I mean, I think you're right. It makes sense.
I don't even think we even like covered an inch of what we could talk about, like also talking about what makes a good exclusive, and how should exclusives be handled. But I do want to get a little bit.
I mean, we got time. We're only 30 minutes in, if 40 minutes in. Like we can keep rolling.
Well, let's go outside the room for a second and then kind of discuss. I did reach out to the online community to kind of get an idea on their thoughts and feelings around exclusives, just in general, things that they like, things that they didn't like, and I did pose this question to the Northeast Ohio Toy and Collectibles Club, or Neotech, which Michael and I are both members of. Jamar, I don't think you're on there.
Jamar's in. He's a lurker. He he's the cuck in the corner.
Photo is like blurred out, so you can't see.
For the record, you can 100% tell it's him. If you zoom in on the picture, you just can't see his facial features.
Which is all that matters.
You do stay quiet across the.
Oh yeah, he is a Facebook cuck. He does not engage.
All right, so the three of us are all in this group. It's a great group if you're in this area of the country, or like Michael, are not even close to that area of the country.
In my defense, I was in it before I moved. I'm just too lazy to leave.
Yeah, well, and you shouldn't have to, because you come into town and people can help you out. So I did pose this question, and I did get quite a bit of feedback, so I wanted to go over a couple of them. So Michael P said, I do like exclusives overall. I think it's cool that you can get that one toy and just that one retailer. However, that's really only as good as the supply chain works. Making sure that it's in the hands of the collectors and not the bots is key. So we talked about that. I don't really think there's anything to argue about there. I don't think he's wrong in any way, shape, or form. So, but he did go on to say, I dig the extra bit of detail that typically goes into them, like the SDCC toys with costume variants or coloring that only happened one time, or that one episode or comic or whatever. So right there, he brings up a great point. And that's one of the things that I feel does make a great exclusive. And it's weird, because we do see this, especially in this community, where people get upset when an exclusive is just a repaint, but then they get even more upset if it's something that's new. What do you guys think is the better exclusive? Or go ahead with what you're going to say.
So the funny thing, I just want to jump off that real quick, is I feel like it's literally the two sides of the coin. So you mentioned earlier, you always see the knee-jerk reaction of, no, it's exclusive, and it's an easy pass. It's literally those flip. When it's something that's shitty that, just one or two people might want, this side that's like easy pass is like, that's fucking stupid, because they assume it's taking the place of a figure that they want to be put in the line, versus realizing it's not that at all. And then the other side obviously flip-flops when you change that situation. I honestly, the problem with exclusives, like we mentioned before, it's how you get some of the things that wouldn't be made in mainline made, which sucks, because that's usually where, like, when it comes to retail stuff, that's the stuff that I end up wanting. Like Walmart, I loved the cartoon version of Clone Wars. I thought that was fantastic. When they redid that in CGI, I refused to watch the show just because it was erasing the show that I loved so much. So the fact that those figures with armored Mace Windu, and granted it's just a fucking repaint, I wish they would have given a new head, but General Grievous were exclusive to Walmart, and Walmart is also shipping them in bubble mailers. So if you're someone like me who I was going to get to, because I want, one to play with and one to keep on card, because it has that cool ass old Clone Wars card from the old toys that were basically just statues.
Which the first two series of, ironically, were Target exclusives.
Look at that. Unfortunately, they flipped to the wrong side.
Right.
Like, it just sucks, because now if I want to get those on card, I'm going to have to go online and pay $40 or $50, if not more, to get them in good condition, because everyone I've seen, it shows up in a bubble mailer and it's crushed or bent or what have you. Luckily, you're going to hook me up with the ones that I'm going to open ultimately, so it's not the end of the world. I'll still have them regardless, but like I've been trying to build that like on card display I want to do with just those oddities, like the things that are like from that's my nostalgia grab. Like, I'm not nostalgic about a lot of things, but seeing those cards from when I was a kid that got me excited when I went into the store, that's what gets me. So
it's the same as me. It's just a different generation. It's just the generation before. But I will say, even though it is a repaint, that Grievous looking good. Yeah. Like, it does look. They did a really good job using the existing molding it's a new cape. I think it's different lightsabers and such, but it's sexy.
Yeah.
I would also say hold on to it before you open it. It's not terrible. It's not great. But it's not terrible. So compare with the next one that you get to see which one might be the most.
Well, the next one I get, I'm not like, because I'm just gonna say it, my Walmarts are not gonna get them in stores. I'm not gonna hold.
Yeah,
out
you
any,
never
any
know.
hope because because my Walmart, unfortunately, they're lucky if they even get in the normal sets usually. Like I never saw the set with like Wrecker and all that in it. Like literally, it was the set with Lando, and then it was nothing but Lando, and it's still nothing but Lando. Yeah. And that's pretty much how mine goes. It's the cool sets never make it. It's the sets with all the main characters from the original 3 movies that make it, and then they have like the peg warmer that they somehow got 7 of. So I'm not holding out any hope there, but that I think if the only thing that I would say would improve the experience is if you're not going to require set rules of okay, this is how you're going to handle your exclusives if you want them because you're afraid, that Big Daddy Walmart or Target are going to pull the rug out from under you, then at least be like, hey, if we want to do this, we're getting a lot of backlash and we're losing a lot of sales. We need you to order X amount instead of this amount, so that way it can be evenly distributed, so we're no longer having people leave the line because they can't get the figures they want and they don't want to pay eBay prices. Because I'll tell you right now, that's how NECA lost me. The revolution of NECA doing these pre-orders online before you can get them in Target, granted, it was a crapshoot when they'd show up at which place, came too late for me because there was so much trauma involved in hunting these things, of going every day, not finding it, and then when it's finally out, it's already been picked over or what have you, and it took the fun out of the line when I have so many other lines where I don't have that like struggle with it. Like everything on these shelves right now, 90% of it I got with ease because it was either a pre-order or it was something that wasn't like some bullshit where they only stock with 2 of them, and I enjoy those lines some more. So it's exclusives can, if you do them right, they're fantastic, but when you don't, it can lose you business. Because I, up until like they got into all the side characters, we were buying all of them. I bought the turtles fucking 2-3 times maybe. I can't keep track. Yeah, because I bought the first set, then I bought the repaints because they had better accessories, and then I bought the disguised turtles. That's fucking 3 times I bought the same 4 characters. Mm-hmm. So like, if you've got someone who's willing to waste that much money, like.
Yeah, you count the video game things in there. I've bought those molds several times. So, Jarmar, did you have any?
Yeah, I'll say a perfect, and I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect exclusive because it's all subjective based on like everything. Sure. But obviously, it goes without saying, a perfect exclusive is something that's easily able to be purchased. Which, the thing that I feel like is an example of a perfect exclusive just happened to not be that easy. But if you saw me digging, I went and grabbed this off the shelf because to me, this is
I thought you bought another one. I'm like, that came on the holothon?
No, I was trying to open this up, but remember my wife stepped on the box, so it is taped. But I mean, we all know what these are, right? Your wife. They're the
Oh, you still have them in the box? Okay.
Well, yeah. Since I moved, I haven't like opened them.
I'm just surprised because you love those things so much. I figured they'd be on display.
This is why these things are hideous and by design, but awesome because I feel like a perfect exclusive is something that most people in a general fandom may not necessarily care about. So like people who just casually like Ninja Turtles would probably see these on the shelf and say, what the fuck is this? Right? Why do they have jean jackets? Like what is their vest? Like, and this is a weird thing. But for that person who's a fan of the Turtles and just, deep into it, this is an example of a perfect exclusive. And I would prefer the same thing. What goes with like the Catwoman, like April O'Neil and the Channel 6 set. Those things are perfect exclusives because it's not something that is taken away from the normal line. Because maybe some of those figures could be there, maybe they couldn't. But like this gives you something that is just so unique that's the only way it's going to get made. And that's how it should be perfect. Now, was this handled perfect? Absolutely not. This was probably one of the most upsetting, disappointing things that I ever had to do outside of the Disguise Turtles. And Disguise Turtles were definitely worse. But it still is that thing though of if I want to get something that's exclusive, I want it to be something that is so weird and random that you wouldn't make it in a regular line. And that's like a perfect exclusive. Now just make them more. That's it.
All right, so we got another one. We've got another comment from Chris B. So he brings up a really interesting point. So the exclusivity and the FOMO just drive up prices for the end collector. And many collectors aren't even sure if they want to buy it because if they know now if they decide that they do want it, they won't be able to find it later. So, like, that's like a really interesting point. Have you ever bought an exclusive just because you could?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Like most of the exclusives I've bought have been FOMO purchases. They've been things where I might want this down the line, so I'm going to get it now because no matter what, I can make my money back on it. So I might as well, if I have the money and I can get it, grab it, so that way I don't have to spend more money on it later.
Yeah, I would say if you're a fan of the show or have watched any of the content in the past 2-3 years or whatever we've been doing this, I'm definitely not that person. I'm the one that's like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't need it.
Almost every big exclusive you pass on and then have to buy later.
So I'm kind of the opposite. I do think about it, and that doesn't always end well for me. But I don't think I've ever purchased anything just because. But it also just because I'm lucky enough to be a fan of a line that most of the exclusives are kind of geared towards me.
Mm-hmm. Even then, you still pass on them and have to pay more later.
Yeah, it's just indecisive.
But yeah, like hell, when I was going real hard on the Dragon Ball figures from Figure Arts, every time they do an event exclusive, I'd order it because I was like, I don't know if I need this, but if I end up I don't want to have to pay double or triple on eBay in 6 months. So I'm like, I'll get it. If I don't want it, I'll either trade it or help someone else who missed out somehow.
Right, because you'll never lose money on something like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Generally speaking, they will always maintain a value that's close to their retail price. So, because I don't ever buy an exclusive for profit. I don't flip. I don't, I even work at a store that sells stuff where we could, and I don't do that. The owner doesn't do that. I don't do that. If we come across it or if we, if it comes in or something like that, it's a different story, but we don't go out, load up the cart and take it all to the store.
You're not sitting there like, okay, crews go up here at 1 p.m. Let me buy 7 of them to resell at the store, like some other stores in your area do.
Yeah. So exactly.
Forever throwing shade.
Yeah, and that's fine. I got to be careful what I say.
I know. I don't because
in that community,
because someone fucked me over, so I don't care.
So. Chris C brings up a great point, and I think it's easier said than done, but he talks about as far as store exclusives go, he doesn't go out on the hunt anymore, and I know a lot of people who don't currently go out on hunts, even before gas prices were raising up. But if it's an online-only issue and they run into bot or server compatibility issues, these places need a serious overhaul to acclimate to the new collecting habits, but it'll never be a high priority for them to beef up their servers or bot catchers for such an overhaul of a small percentage of their yearly profit. So I think he's right, and he's also right in the sense that companies probably are not going to invest because a couple of whiny 40-year-olds or 30-year-olds or 50-year-olds or 60-year-olds are sitting in their basement bitching that we can't get, whatever. I mean, I'm trying to look for an exclusive that's near me, and they're actually all exclusives. So, because
on the show we're like, they's buying up all the exclusives.
Loot Crate. Let's see.
Mezco. What's Loot Crate?
Yeah.
Oh,
so.
No, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this real quick. and I'll let Jarmar go. So you collect a lot of Transformers now.
Yes.
Obviously, they have exclusive lines at both retailers. What's the experience of that versus with Star Wars, Marvel Legends?
Incredible. It's incredible. I don't worry about pre-ordering anything in Transformers because I will always find it. It's incredible. The only time that I ran into issues was like Amazon exclusives, and that's really the only major exclusive.
God. You reminded me.
Yeah, they can be typically easy to get if you get on there at the right time, but if you miss out, that's where that's the exclusive that I generally dislike, because if you miss it, there's not like a chance to re-get it unless you're constantly watching the website. You don't have a chance to go into the store and just happen upon it. But to quickly answer your question and jump back to what Amazon, most Transformer stuff is easily attainable, because of the fact it's still probably the most popular toy line out there. So there's not stock issues.
Amazon and Hasbro can eat my ass.
Okay, right on.
So they re-releasing that goddamn Doc Ock, but with an updated head sculpt, and he's in a 2-pack of silk. It's Amazon exclusive. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
In the past, I haven't had terrible experience with Amazon. I literally got home from work. I worked overnight last night, and I'm like, okay, I'll stay up for a little bit just to try to get it. 10 o'clock hits. I pull up the thing. It's already gone. I'm like, well,
was it like legit already gone, or
yeah? Because there were people on Instagram who were like, it's up now. Go grab it. And by the time their posts actually even posted, because their posts were like 30 seconds old, I had already been on there and it said sold out. So that's how quickly it was gone. So either they didn't get a whole lot, which is fucking stupid for such a popular repack.
Yeah.
Or they just fucking bots got them all. Either way, fuck Amazon and fuck Hasbro. You can both eat my nastiest part of my asshole.
And they definitely can. Just for your sake, just keep that link bookmarked or whatever and keep checking back, because they will cancel certain orders and they will restock it, but they'll restock it at weird times.
Yeah, it'll be like
so especially
3 in the morning, so I'll be asleep anyway.
Yeah, if there's a night where you can check it while you're working or something like that, you may have a better chance of doing it. But yeah, because I'm going to be on the hunt for that Bad Batch TVC set that got released last year. They're supposed to be putting more up because it went out within like 2 minutes or something like that. Even 2 minutes would be okay. I'd be okay with 2 minutes. I can check out in 2 minutes.
Right.
I can't check out in 20 seconds.
I mean, I can check out in 20 seconds because on Amazon, it's my phone. I just hit buy it now.
Right. There's that.
Continue and done. Problem is everyone else can, so it didn't matter.
Right.
Right. Speaking of a good experience, I completely forgot about this because I'm waiting for it to come in. When you mentioned restocks, GameStop got the exclusivity in the States to the Sentinel Miles Morales. First time around, they fucking dicked us around on our pre-orders for fucking 3 months because literally there was a period where it felt like I pre-ordered at Target because every week they were charging me and then giving my money back. So like, hey, the release date's coming up. We're charging you so when it ships, you're good to go. I'm like, cool. And then they pushed the release date back a week or two. And then we'd fucking wash, rinse, repeat for another like 2 or so months. And I finally got tired of it. I'm like, fuck it. I don't want this thing that bad. Well, finally, due to demand, Bluefin worked with them to get restock. And now, at least as of last night when I sent Jarmar the link, or the night before, I can't remember. They're all melted together at this point. It was available all day long. You could just add it to your cart and buy it. Like that, that right there is how it should be done. If it's an exclusive, I should be able to go on, click buy, done. Especially something that thing isn't like not popular. It once it sold on GameStop, it jumped up to more than 2 times the price. It was over $250 on eBay, and it's an $80 figure. So,
wow,
like the demand is there.
So, basically, what we're kind of getting to is that if it is an exclusive and it's extremely difficult to get, maybe just re-releasing it would make a lot of sense to make more money off of it, right?
You would think.
Or is that a bad thing?
I don't know. Looking at it realistically, and that's the problem a lot of toy collectors don't do. Once it's been shipped and manufactured, is it possible to go back to the factory and redo another run? Yes. Is it economically feasible to do it immediately? Will it bump a schedule? Like, there is cost involved. So some of the information that I've been able to glean about exclusives and different things, I read the Blue Milk Press Star Wars archive book, and it is a lot of good information. And they talked about how making running changes, just even running changes while it's still being manufactured, is a huge costly endeavor. So they try not to do it if possible. So a whole nother run afterwards, who knows? Now Hasbro did it on their San Diego exclusives a couple years ago. Once it was 2020 because that was the first year they didn't have the show
because it was
in
they
person.
were all available online.
Yeah, they did a second batch. They weren't coming until I think almost a year later.
That was also made to order, wasn't it?
Yes,
because they gave you a window to pre-order like Super 7 does and NECA does now.
Yep. Which is a great way to do it, but I don't know, how possible that's going to be for a retailer exclusive, and ultimately, what is the demand? What is the number of demand? Some things were thrown around, which made me rethink some things. All this is coming back to TVC, but that's okay. I have my little pockets of stuff. But I read something online that the Razor Crest topped out at around I think it was 28,000 that got manufactured, and that's actually quite a bit more than I guess the average vintage collection figure sells. So even though we don't ever get sales figures, it would be interesting to know, do vintage collection figures only sell around 20,000 pieces? I don't know.
If that's true, that's fucking crazy considering, I mean, how many people just in the States there are, let alone.
Right. That's why I don't think it's legit. I don't think those are real numbers, but that's the information.
Well, are those the real numbers of how many they make or how many fans there are trying to collect it? Because those are two different numbers too. There's a variance there. So that could be accurate. They could only make 20K of them, and you've got 100,000 collectors. Then yeah, that's why there's so many people who have gaps in their collection.
Could be. Yep. Because I don't know of any company that publishes actual numbers as far as how many pieces they sell. We have no idea. We feel like there's a lot of toy collectors, but is there? I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, there's at least 20K, because if you look at the numbers on some of the other channels like Fwoosh, and hell, there's more than that, because look at Shartimus, the numbers he gets. There's no way that a large percentage of his viewers are just casual people who like watching things about toys but not collecting them. So there's got to be at least a decent chunk. It may not be in the millions, but it's definitely got to be past 100,000.
You'd think. I would think.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it should be way easier to get.
If you're splitting that over certain properties, because it's got to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
It could be millions if we're just thinking of it as a whole.
Yeah.
I look at when I go to shows and stuff and I see the people. It's several thousand people through the doors.
So in a
small area.
Granted, you have to remember probably 15-20% of that traffic is gonna be families who are like, oh, it's a toy show, it's a great thing to take the kids to, or something like that, or so there's always those variances, but for the most part, it's usually a bunch of middle-aged dudes trying to get some plastic cracks. So
girls.
True.
Yeah.
It's a lot more rare, but yes, 100%. Yeah, there are girls.
There's more and more of it.
They're usually less bitchy than we are, so I usually don't count them in because I fear they don't want to be lumped in with us.
Lumped in with us.
Yeah. But yeah, it's usually just a bunch of bitchy old dudes who are like, "Where's my fucking toys?" And it better not be eBay prices.
Yeah, exactly.
And work a deal with me, damn it.
Yeah.
Give me a handshake and a handy, and you got a deal.
Ooh. The deal of all deals.
Yep. There was something else I was going to talk about with the exclusives, but I can't remember it now. Oh, we were talking about re-releases and stuff. That's what I wanted to piggyback on. So I feel like it's harder with retailers because import companies are doing it more and more now. And companies that don't have a retail presence, so like Super 7 has done it probably more than anybody at this point, and they're a very kind of new to the game company, which makes it more impressive. But Mafex and Figure Arts are both getting more and more into the game of doing that because realistically, the gap between their shipments is so much that they have the time and the resources, they can go back and do it. And if it's something that's in a demand enough that they can make enough money off existing molds to help, move things along with the other stuff they're working on, then why not? So I think it is, like you said, harder for, when you're in the retail game, because you have that expectation, if I have to get these waves to the stores by this time, you can't always go in and throw in something like that. It would just be a wrench in the machine. The only real solution to that would be, which it's harder now because there's less factories, because China's getting out of the manufacturing game, so everyone's having to go other places, which is part of the reason why costs are going up, would be to try to find another factory that you can use just to pump out some quick reuse. But then you also have the problem where, like, if their machines don't work with the existing molds, does it like do this or that? Like, there's a lot of like pieces to that puzzle that have to kind of all come together perfectly, or it just fucks everything up.
Right.
Yeah, I'll throw. I know this is completely out of you guys' radar, but Good Smile with Nindoroids have been doing probably the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, for somebody like me who's come in like late stage into a lot of some of the most popular like anime, like they have been doing re-releases after re-releases. You have to wait, but you don't have to get destroyed on some of these prices.
That's the option you can take. You can either get destroyed on eBay or wait.
And I usually get destroyed because I'm impatient.
No, I mean it's definitely worth it. I just appreciate them so much. I mean, of course, I'm giving them money, and the re-releases are probably about like 10 to 15% more than what they were when they first released. But I'm getting this figure that, like, I was like, oh my god, I love this anime. I want to get some shit for it, and oh shit, those came out 3 years ago. Okay, well, everything's $100 or $200, so now I can get those and just wait a year.
So that raises an interesting question, because people are right now, obviously prices are going up. People are bitching about it. If these companies were to give us a secondary opportunity, they're going to re-release something that was exclusive, that was hard to get, and give us another chance, but you had to pay a couple dollars more to help offset the wrench in the plans of pushing everything back to get that, would the community do it? Or would it just be a fuck you, I'll see you tomorrow kind of situation?
I have to imagine some people would be level-headed enough to know that they could, still pay less than, what eBay is charging, just to get something. If they truly just want to have it because they like the character or like, whatever they're putting out. Somebody who's looking for it for the value of it may not like that. And I do think that there is something to be said about re-releases that change it up a little bit from the initial release to retain
updated head sculpt, better paint apps, what have you, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it would just be a price thing of like, what would be the difference in cost? Like, if I'll throw these ones out here, for example. If Neca was to be like, all right, guys, we're doing the Mirage Turtles. It's been a very, very long time, which I feel like they're going to do it anyways. Say we're doing it exclusive on the Neca store. That's why I sold mine. And to buy them, you need it's going to be $40 a turtle. Would that be too much?
That's what it's going to be anyway. Just because that's the current Neca price.
I guess that's probably a very forced example, because I feel like they are going to do those.
Yeah, because at this point, their ultimates are about $37, so that wouldn't be...
Yeah. Technically 42, but everyone's marking down. But anyways, I guess that's a bad example. But I just mean, like, if it's within that range of, like, I'd say $5 to $10 for me, maybe even up to $20, I feel like it would be, feasible. If it was something that was, like, a major exclusive. It would have to be, like, San Diego Comic-Con type thing, or...
For me, it would have to be a percentage. I can't set a number, because with the things I collect, they bounce around from different price ranges. Yeah. So, like, for instance, the Mafex, they re-released the Hush Batmans. those, if you got them directly from Japan, same price. If you got them here in the States from one of the e-retailers, they were like $10 more. That's fine, because that's less than a 10% hike for them to make a little extra money on something that otherwise you would have to spend $200 on. Whereas if we're talking something at retail, like a Marvel Legends figure, like say they were just like, hey, we're gonna do Doc Ock, and it's gonna be a 80th anniversary special edition singular thing, like they did with the Classics line a few years ago, and he's gonna be $30 instead of 25. I wouldn't be opposed to that, as long as it's a situation where he's been updated to come with the same stuff as the current figures, because I don't know for sure, but I don't think he came with interchangeable hands last time around, and I feel like I would at least want like an extra pair of hands or something to make me feel like I'm getting at least a little more for it versus just paying the extra because I missed out the first time.
It's almost like rewarding the person for waiting or missing out. So I don't know.
Like packing in more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It almost is like you should get less.
Yeah, for a higher price. To be realistic about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going, but here's the thing. These companies aren't, for the most part, aren't making these toys with the intention of value collectors. Otherwise, they'd be McFarlane figures and they'd be statues, because they wouldn't spend the money on articulation.
It's the idea that, like, I bought this when it first came out and I didn't get anything, and now it's out again, and now someone else just got it and they got.
Well, that's it. You get the opportunity to get it again, though. You could be like, oh, I want the better version, because that happens all the time in collectibles. Otherwise, we'd only have one Han Solo figure ever made for each movie.
But in that case, you'd be talking about making a totally different figure then. That starts to get
Well, no, because I mean, think about it. How many times have we gotten the same A New Hope Han Solo just with an updated head sculpt?
A couple times. Yeah.
Exactly. That's all you have to do is one change, something just to improve it enough to where it's.
So, real quick, why do you feel like it needs to be a change if it's an exclusive that you missed out on and you didn't have the opportunity to get? Why do you feel that you should get something better?
At this point, we're not actually talking about exclusives. We just moved on to re-releases, kind
of.
Oh,
okay.
Well, I wasn't talking about exclusives.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm talking like if they were just like, because the Classics line was, I think it was exclusive to Walmart. No, I think it was at both, wasn't it? The 50th anniversary or whatever they did last year, or no, 60th anniversary, whatever it was, where they did like the 2 packs of Colossus and Juggernaut, and then they did the single packs with Iron Man and Captain America. Those were literally just like updated re-releases. But they were $30 instead of $20 at the time. Yeah. So like,
I thought we were still talking exclusives.
Oh no, sorry, I got caught up in the re-release thing.
Yeah,
then
I agree.
If it's exclusive, then yeah, if it's exclusive, 100%. $5 more because you missed it, no extra stuff. You shouldn't get less, but you shouldn't get. Right. There's no need to get more.
Just in point, like you just mentioned earlier, the Doc Ock and Silk figures, even though that is an exclusive, the originals weren't necessarily. So the original Silk was a regular mainline release. The second Silk was a Pulse exclusive, but Doc Ock was a regular mainline release, and both of them are very sought after in any version. So I look at what I recently sold either of those figures for, and I'm like, that was a good time to sell them. I didn't do that on purpose, but yeah, honestly, I think you're getting the better option because I think the head is better. So
yeah, because they did update the head a little bit, so like
the Silk looks better too.
Looks I have no interest in Silk. I just need a Doc Ock because
I don't know.
I don't know when Mafex is going to make a Doc Ock, so I need my fix.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Well, I mean, I don't know about you. I feel like we've kind of run the gamut on exclusive. Is there any other final thoughts?
Retail exclusives suck. Yada yada yada.
A necessary evil.
Make more.
Necessary.
Make it so the supply and demand are closer. That's the only thing that will fix it. There's no special recipe where it's going to be like, oh, only do it this way or only do that way. Just make more of the product. Because guess what?
Or just
if it's something that's sought after, it's not going to fucking warm pegs. It's going to sell either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
I feel like you were trying to say something while I was ranting about make
Me?
more. No, Nate.
Oh, I was
I was going to say, or limit how many someone can buy. I think that would go a long way too. But
I don't think that helps too much though when stores only get like 1 or 2 of each thing though.
well, I meant maybe more like online.
Oh yeah, online 100%. But the problem with that is the bots usually they have multiple accounts that they go through. So that won't solve the problem because Target did do that for a lot of the turtle stuff is they limited it. But because people would use multiple accounts, it didn't matter. And then they tried. Neca was like, okay, well in that case, you need to go and find accounts with the same address and delete those orders. And they did that, and it still was a shit show. So like,
oh yeah,
there's no way to fix the online game, sadly, without convincing rich pricks that they need to overhaul their entire way of doing things for a fraction of their profits.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just not gonna fix it. The only solution: make more product.
Yeah.
When the supply and demand are slightly closer, the demand could still be higher. There could still be some people that miss out. Sorry, but you just right now it's such an uneven like supply versus demand that it's not good. It's worse than it's ever been really for the difference between supply and demand. Anything else before we close out?
I think we nailed it. Love to hear more feedback.
Yeah.
I'm
curious what everyone else thinks.
If you have any, let us know your strong opinions about exclusives in the comments below. and because I really do like I was reading through the comments of your post while you were like talking about them, just kind of seeing what everyone said because I knew you were going to have to summarize because a lot of them were very long paragraph answers.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't read all of them. Some of them hit the same points. So.
Yeah, there was at least 2 or 3 that were literally almost identical of just some extra things added in here and there. So if you just didn't get directly read off, don't feel bad. We still saw it. It was just a matter of it was this one touched that point and had something else kind of thing.
No.
But yeah, let us know in the comments below your thoughts on exclusives, good, bad, ugly. Do you hope that all the manufacturers burn to the ground? You tell me. Or retailers, yeah. If you hope every Target store fucking has their toilets overflowing of shit. I don't know.
No, the employees are great. That's one thing we should mention. The employees are great.
Not all the time.
For the most part. Most of mine.
Mine used to be, and then the guy who was great quit because he got treated like shit. And now the guy there, I'm pretty sure, saves all the shit for his friends because every time I go, always consistently, they got the fresh case, but the one good one is always missing. So I'm like, whatever. Anyway, make sure to follow us Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Modern Toy Fair. Subscribe and like and all that fun stuff here on YouTube. Go follow us on twitch.tv/Modern Toy Fair where we do weekly purchases every Wednesday night. Well, almost every Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Don't laugh at me, Jarmar. If you enjoyed this podcast, we also have Toy Therapy. We're going to I have a shit ton of reviews that I'm working on. I'm going to get them all edited and finished this weekend. So I might just do a huge dump on Monday of reviews for all of you. We'll see. Or I might spread them out over the course of a couple weeks. Just kind of depends how I'm feeling. So yeah, check those out. We've got top 10 lists too. Jarmar, don't forget you're not getting off the hook. You've got one this month. You better figure it out. Because that's actually probably going to be either next week or the week after.
Top 10.
No. You can check Jarmar out, twitch.tv/Jarmar_games, where occasionally he goes on Twitch and streams Apex and maybe other games. You can check him out on youtube.com/a bunch of numbers and letters that will be in the description below, where he has clips of those games, and eventually season 1 of Why You're a Gamer, his podcast where he talks to different gamers and finds out why they play video games. You can also catch the audio only version of that and of this podcast on any podcast app you're choosing, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and other podcast apps you know and love. Nate, what you got for us this week?
We have got a new podcast starting up later this week. It's called Target Tracks. It is where I record the distance and time it takes me to get from one target to the next. So it's going to be.
I can't wait.
It's going to be a great show.
If those
Target
episodes are more
coming.
than like 10 minutes, I'm going to be very upset. So make sure to check out that imaginary podcast and more each and every week. But hopefully we'll see you next week. Same toy time, same Toy Fair channel. Thank you for watching.